Pleasure. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to 1 Million Cups, and welcome to Jose Salazar, our presenter today from ENETOR. It will be a very, very exciting meeting. But to start off dull, please, everyone, go and check into 1 Million Cups. You probably can't if you've had the app on your phone for a long time, so you have to delete it and reinstall it, which I did while Melinda was getting our screens ready. So please do check into 1 Million Cups. It's our best way to tell national how active we are. So next slide, please. Thank you. You know, if you could get the cup to stay like that all the time, you'd be a heck of an entrepreneur. You'd be loved by the community, and you could educate us all. Those are the three principles on which 1 Million Cups stands. So please, next slide. Thank you. Next slide. Beautiful. The mission of 1 Million Cups is to lower the barrier to education, resources, and connections for all types of new and aspiring entrepreneurs. There are over 160 chapters across America, and I'm proud to say that Fairfax is one of the most active chapters, meeting every week. And that's amazing. We lead the country in the number of weekly meetings we hold. And again, you'll find we're not about pitches, we're about presentations. We might entertain a discussion on the best ways to raise money, but we don't allow people to come and try to raise money. Rather, we focus on a business's operations and brainstorm with the presenter to come up with great ideas and questions for you, Jose, to take with you after the meeting. We are all about authentic connections. We are run for the community and by the community. Next slide, please. So our culture is very important to us as a group of organizers who you'll meet soon. We've really worked on this statement because we need this to be a safe and supportive environment. You have to have a lot of courage to make a presentation and stand up and have the rest of the group ask questions and make suggestions. And so we state right up front, we're safe and supportive. We're owned by all who show up and support us. We're radical and intentional in being inclusive. That's really important in today's world. We really care about who shows up and how we can help each of us in our community. So we are all volunteer, and if you want to be involved, there are many ways to be involved. The simplest is to attend regularly, give us feedback, join our Facebook page, join our LinkedIn page, provide feedback in the Zoom chat, and share our contact with your friends and colleagues. Next slide. So I'm honored to be one of the organizers, and I believe a few of our organizers are here today, and I think, John, you're probably the first one in the house.
Great. Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone, for coming out today to support our chapter. I really enjoy being part of this fantastic group, especially being part of an organizer who is very smart, supportive for the local community. If you're interested in becoming an organizer, please feel free to reach out to one of us.
Melinda.
Melinda Sigel, I'm behind the slides today, and I'll be facilitating the discussion. I'm here to help everyone, our presenter, and anybody who is hoping to become a presenter. We would love you to talk to us. Welcome this morning. Danelle, are you on your phone or Zooming in the car?
I don't think Danelle's on right now.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because he was planning to be.
Okay. Rosemary.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rosemary Savino with Gravitate. We are a B2B collaboration and file sharing platform. I'm thrilled to be with you all today as an organizer and a member of the community. As an organizer, I get to meet and work with terrific entrepreneurs like Jose and all of you. If you're interested in being an organizer, let us know.
Hey, and I'm John Rittenberg. I own cccsolutions.com. And just to emphasize what several people said, we are looking for additional leaders. If you'd like to become an organizer, we'd love to have you. Next slide, please. So to help us generate new presenters, we welcome 6 brand ambassadors, several who are here today. I did see Dan Lender. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, folks. Dan Lender, Golden Rule Home Watch and Concierge. I'm glad to be here, and to those who are first timers, welcome.
Gresham.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gresham Harkless. I'm from Blue 16 Media. We focus on web design, SEO, and website support. I also have a daily podcast. I'm super excited to be an ambassador, and it's been awesome because I had the chance to present. And I presented about my podcast before I was getting it started and ramped up. So if I can answer any questions, definitely let me know. I'm happy to be here.
John Foster.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's John Foster. I'm ambassador for Green Fair Health and Wellness. And this is a great way to start Wednesdays, and really just appreciate the opportunity to be here and to be an ambassador for 1 Million Cups.
Thank you. I think those are our only ambassadors here today, but thank you to all 6. To the group, we need more presenters. So if you know someone who would like to present or who you think would be a good presenter, invite them to a Wednesday 1 Million Cups. Let them see us in action and let them become part of our community. Next slide, please. You know, an organization will only be successful when there are strong sponsors. It's my pleasure first to introduce John Yu and then Ken Portnoy, who are our November sponsors. John Yu, please say hello.
Hey, thanks, John. Hey, glad to meet everyone, see everyone this morning. Well, I'm with Office Evolution. We're a co-working and share space provider located right here in Tyson's Corner. We provide fully furnished private office as well as a number of flexible virtual space options for business owners. We love being partners with 1 Million Cups and the small business community to help support, and we look forward to meeting in person. Thank you.
Ken, Mr. Portnoy, tell us about your coffee. Yep.
Good morning. Good morning. This morning is my second round as a coffee sponsor. I was a coffee sponsor a while back, but now I'm taking off my secret identity. Those of you who've known me for a while have known me as the Toastmasters guy, but I've shed my secret identity and I'm coming out in my superhero costume as an advisor to businesses. You might wonder about how some businesses are incredibly profitable, but the vast majority of small and medium-sized businesses struggle for profitability. And that's what I do, is I help small and medium businesses using a methodology that's been developed over the last decade and successfully implemented in over 600,000 businesses around the country and around the world. We bring profitability to small businesses so that entrepreneurs can survive and thrive. Thayer Partners, Ken Portnoy, I love this crowd.
Thank you, Ken, and thank you, John, for your ongoing sponsorship, for sure. Next slide, please. So I think everyone knows how our virtual meetings work. please wave your hand using the icon for the Q&A. Please feel free to add your comments, suggestions, and questions to the chat. And also, please put your microphone on mute during, I guess, the whole day, but certainly during Q&A. Next slide, please. So it's my pleasure to introduce Jose and to turn this meeting over to him. And I believe, Melinda, you are the moderator today. So when Jose is done, Melinda will jump in and take over. Jose, my advice to you during the Q&A session is when people make suggestions, say, thank you so much. And no big response. More important that you hear what everyone has to ask or suggest. And you don't have to take notes because it's being recorded. You will get a copy of the recording and you will get a copy of the chat room.
Nice.
So you'll have all of the documentation to distill later. So again, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the best chapter of 1 Million Cups anywhere in the world. With that, I introduce Jose. It's yours, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful words. And thank you for having me, for the invitation. So I think, hold on, go back to the previous slide. Yeah, okay. Well, I want to introduce really quick ENETOR. It's Energy Engineering Simulators. It's an entrepreneurship that I'm developing. It's like Expedia.com, but instead of using the guest-looking rooms in hotels, it's engineers looking equipments in the manufacturer market. So instead of guests, are engineers, instead of equipment, are rooms. Sorry, instead of rooms are equipment, and instead of hotels are manufacturers. Next slide, please. My challenge question today is, how do I get early users once my MVP is built? Next slide, please. So to share who am I prepared this business case. The name is the Mango Tree and the Thundercats. It's to show you that I started in business when I got 6 years old in 1986, when show up in the market the Thundercats sticker album. I have the need and the incentive to collect it. And my grandma had a beautiful mango tree, and she had a regulation over the mango tree. You cannot sell the mangoes to the people, but she didn't talk about the sticks. So I saw an opportunity there selling the sticks, a cent per stick. It's a long story, but it was a success at that time. I made $2 until my grandma figured out what I was doing. She was really upset and turned it off in a non-profit organization. So next slide, please. I came from Venezuela. I was living in South Carolina. Now I'm living in Middletown, Delaware. I came to the USA because my wife got a job here. We were trying to leave the country. She got the job first than me. And I said, oh, let's go. What are we waiting for? Next slide, please. Now I am trying to put this company together, ENETOR, that, as I said, is an energy engineering simulator for capital intensive projects. Next slide, please. Basically, in the energy industry, design engineers use simulators to size equipment and generate technical documents used to request quotes from vendors and manufacturers. The problem with this is the price of the simulators are really expensive. We're talking about $30,000 per user per year. We are trying to deliver it as a SaaS model. So it's going to be SaaS simulator with a free option, multidisciplinary, and 100% online. There is also another problem, the communication gap between engineers and vendors. Sometimes you know what do you need, but you don't know who to call. For that reason, we are integrating a VRM or a vendor relationship management system with the decision matrix. Also, that generates at the same time lack of quotation for small and medium vendors or manufacturers that they don't know either who to call to sell their products. So we developed this solution as a paper RFQ. So it's like pay-per-click in Google, but it's a paper request for quote. So I intend to charge a fee for each quote that the vendor received from the engineer designing the equipment. Next slide, please. I want to show you this video. This is our MVP right now. It's in a video to show you what we are trying to do. Please click on the video, please.
Welcome to ENETOR Demo. This is the dashboard, where you can see some key indicators like progress and warnings. From the main menu, you can choose compressor plants, mini refineries or refineries, power plants, among other plants or energy facility projects that we want to develop. Let's choose compressor plant, and then you can select the equipment like compressors, separators, slug catchers, filters, pumps, propane tanks, and flares. Let's choose separators, and then select your discipline like process, mechanical, or instrumentation. Then you can see the different necessary inputs that you have to introduce to simulate the equipment. Because this is a pre-designed equipment for the demo, we will only modify the operating pressure to show you how the design pressure is updated and how it works. We do the same with the operating and design temperature. After your simulation is finished, you can generate the datasheet in order to do a detailed professional review and final check. If everything is okay, you can print it. You can also ask for a request for quotation, selecting as many vendors as you want from the list. Let's choose 4 of our preference, and finally send them the request with the simulator outcome. We are ENETOR, and our vision is to be the world's most reliable online engineering simulator for all kinds of projects in the energy industries. Thank you for watching. We appreciate it.
Okay, next slides, please. Cool. What makes us different? The question that many people have is what happened with the current simulators in the market? Where the current simulator is like, I compare it like Microsoft Word, sorry, it's like Microsoft Word. You can do a lot of things there, but you have to do copy 1, copy 2, copy 3 of the document. If you modify something that somebody else did, you can mess up. What we are trying to do here is like Google Docs. It's kind of the same, but it's easygoing, it's collaborative. Everybody can work at the same time. It's gonna be also faster and 100% online. Next slide, please. The competitive landscape, there are big companies doing the simulators, but they don't have the free option just for students, and they also don't have this multidisciplinary option, the VRM, and the paper RFQ model. Next slide, please. So the total addressable market, we are trying to combine the engineers simulating and the vendors selling the manufacturers. But if we can combine both, we have an exponential market that we believe that we have a unicorn here with a TAM of 1.5 billion at least. Next slide, please. The stage where we founded ENETOR in 2020, last year in the middle of the pandemic. Right now we are developing the MVP, and the next stage is the early customer, how to reach those early customers, even before the MVP is done. Next slide, please. The market adoption that we figured out here is mainly linking because our main customers are professionals, try to be part of networking or network professional associations like Rapid, do presentation like I'm doing right today in 1MillionCups nationwide, some conference and technical magazines. Next slide, please. As I said, we are trying to be part of these organizations. A couple of weeks ago, we were accepted as member of Rapid community. You can see the logo here in the lower corner on the right. All of those logos there are our potential customers, but as you can see, those are really big companies. Next slide, please. For that reason, that is my challenge question. How do I get early users once my MVP is built? So if you can help me with this, I'm gonna appreciate it. Thank you.
So I'm going to facilitate the conversation. I just put up participants. Hopefully you guys can't see that on your screens. Please raise your hand if you've got a question. I'm going to also pull up chat so you can put your questions in the chat. And Rosemary, if you just want to shadow me in case I can't see somebody, that would be fabulous. Great presentation, Jose.
Thank you very
I
much.
have one quick question.
Mhm.
How do you make money? Are you making money from all the manufacturers to be part of who you recommend? What is the model where you're making money?
Yeah, let's say you are a manufacturer. Let's assume that I'm the engineer designing. I'm gonna design the equipment that you are selling. I'm gonna send you the request for quote, and ENETOR gonna charge you for each request for quote around $35 or $100 per request for quote that you receive. So I expecting that each manufacturer could receive hundreds of requests for quote. That means more profit for them, more sales. I'm expecting at the most $10,000 per month per manufacturers. But when I'm telling you that you are paying $10,000 to ENETOR, probably you are making millions of dollars selling your equipment.
Rosemary, I see you've got a question.
Thanks, Melinda. Hey, Jose, great presentation. I love the idea of your company as sort of an Expedia for these capital intensive projects. It's a great way to describe what you're building. Now, in terms of your challenge question, I have a couple of questions for you and then a suggestion. So one question is, as part of your business case, have you defined the archetypes of users on both sides of that Expedia marketplace? So the sort of person who would be the engineer and the sort who'd be making the decision to log in and spec out something. And on the other side, the sort of person who's making the decision to sign up with ENETOR to take in the quotes. So those in product management, we call those personas, and they're archetypes of people. And it helps you to visualize who it is that you're talking to. So have you created personas for users and buyers yet? Even if the personas aren't like written down on paper, you know the sort of person, the kind of background they have, the sort of things that they would be doing.
Okay, let me see if I answer the question. As I understood good, you're talking about what kind of people I'm trying to reach?
Yeah.
Okay. In one side, the engineers, the most are project engineers that they are hired for big companies like Chevron in this case, but I would like to try to reach even the green energy sector. Right now is the oil and gas because it's my knowledge at the most is oil and gas. But these people hire these consulting firms. When I try to reach those consulting firms and the people working in those consulting firms, the engineer designing, and it could be different disciplines, civil engineers, process engineer, mechanical engineer, instrument engineer, even electric engineer, because it's multidisciplinary simulator. And in the other side, we're trying to reach manufacturers or vendors or representatives from this manufacturer company that they are trying to sell around the world, because we are trying to reach engineers around the world to sell the US equipment.
Okay. So I think the answer then is yes, you have a persona in your mind and you have some keywords that I heard coming out. So my suggestion is take those keywords like project engineer and, spec design and all the other special words that you're going to use that you know will resonate with those engineers. And you've already decided that your adoption, and I think they're appropriate approaches, is going to be LinkedIn and, articles and magazines, etc. I would recommend that you put together a post or an ad that you run in LinkedIn that says call for testers. Engineers love to be testers, and put out a call for testers and see what kind of response you get. And that will be a good way to bring in some testers. And on the other side, tweak the wording, call for testers in manufacturing. And there's a few manufacturing focused accelerators in this DMV area that are actually working with small companies. And I'll connect you through email with someone who runs one of those. But that might be another way for you to get the other side of your marketplace. And because we're talking about your MVP, and I think a good hook for engineers is be our tester, you could use those two approaches to kind of gin up enough support to get some early users. Sorry, I'll stop blabbing and I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
John
Good advice.
Ruttenberg, you're next.
Hey, thank you, John Rutenberg, Jose. Thank you so much. My question is similar to Rosemarie's, but can you tell us what is the pain that a potential client feels that's going to make you the hero when you solve it?
Yeah, good question. Thank you. Is for the independent engineers and the small and medium firms, the price of these simulators is really expensive, as I said. So sometimes they cannot afford it, and they have to use software like pirate software. The big firms probably they can translate the price to the final customers, but sometimes they cannot. In the other side, the manufacturers, the pain that they have is, for example, Caterpillar is a big company and they have a sales force around the world selling their engines. But if you are a small or medium manufacturer, you don't have that amount of money to put people around the world. And with this platform, you can do it because you can reach people that with less money than put somebody in another country or another state here in the United States. So that's the pain that I'm trying to solve, to put it together.
So in messaging, you need to crystallize that pain and identify 5 to 10 engineers and manufacturers and offer them the service for free for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Because all you have is the beginning of an MVP. That's not in any way a criticism, but here I am, I'm a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, okay, I like this guy, Jose Salazar, but he doesn't have his product fully built, but I'm willing to be part of the naissance, the beginning of this cool thing. And whether it's 6 months or a year, and so getting some victories from your initial group of users, I think is the launching pad to future sales.
Thank you, John. Thank you. I appreciate it. Good.
I've got John Foster next, and then I've got an idea to share.
Great. Thank you, Jose. Love the presentation, and the thing I'll say is that what you're looking to be as a disruptor in this, I believe, is what your objective is here. On the one slide you had, as far as students go and your competitors, I was just curious I saw a student across this. I just want to better understand that slide, because my thought is taking this to, engineering schools potentially, and have, students or professors use this as a tool to teach, because if they start using it, it will then go into the industry. So I was just curious on your competitors. They had nothing else, and obviously that's something that's a way for you to come in and differentiate yourself.
Yeah, the thing is, they are doing something like you said. They are delivering this simulator for free for students and professors at the college and universities. I will do the same, and also after your graduation, I would like to try to give you for free or for minimum price possible. The other side of the question is we are trying to reach the disruption, where we're trying to disrupt this market, because nobody's doing something similar. So you have in other sectors of marketing, branding, this kind of business model. It's nothing new. It's like I said, like Expedia.com. But in this industry, there is not exist a simulator like this one.
Okay, one other quick thing, just to last thing on this is I don't know if any of the larger manufacturers have their own academies or universities within the companies.
Well, actually, good question. Actually, they are trying to develop their own simulators.
Ah.
So for that reason, I'm trying to deliver this for free. I don't do it yourself. I'm doing for you. Use it. I don't want to charge you. I want to charge you once you sell something or what you receive request for quote.
Okay.
And the other thing I want to share is the current simulators are really, really old. So you can find, for example, if you have an engineering firm, you have to buy at least 5 simulators. One for process, one for mechanical, one for instrumentation, one for electrical, one for civil. What we're trying to do is integrate it in just one simulator to manage all the disciplines. So if you want to design a water pump, you can design the motor, you can design the pump itself, the cables, the instrumentation, and even the foundation of the pump. So it doesn't exist. I can tell the simulators, the current simulators are exactly the same simulator I was using in the college 15 years ago.
Great.
So I've got a big idea to share that I've seen done in other industries, but when I've seen it done, it wasn't in the digital time. So I've got a transition for that. Hair care industry, Southern California, back in the 80s and 90s, I was very active in hair care and skincare, and they had a group that used to meet on a monthly basis. So you could almost put together monthly Zoom calls, and everybody in the group, there was a cost for vendors, and there was who were manufacturers or whatever ways that they might service the hair care, skincare industry in the manufacturing process and operations. And then there were the folks that were the end users, who were the companies, the purchasing people, the marketing people from all of these skincare and hair care companies. So I'm seeing a couple of things that you could create some kind of organization, a membership, where you have monthly meetings, and the monthly meetings are usually professional development or information about. You could even do, I assume you represent a bunch of companies that sell the same kinds of products, but different needs for different types of operations and whatever they're doing. So you can have you can have manufacturers that might be competitive as members. You might put a panel together to discuss what's unique about what they do or what their products and services are. So you would draw people to these meetings. The other thing that you could also do, if it doesn't exist, is create an association for all of this and make this the legs of how you have the members and the who are the companies that need these products and services, and then the manufacturers of the products and services they're going to need as part of it as well. And again, you could have different types of memberships. Obviously, you want to get as many companies that are the buyers of all of this to come for almost nothing, but you want to include reasons why they want to be part of it so that they can get the education. So I just wanted to throw that out as a big idea on the way that you're doing everything. And if you haven't thought of doing educational Zoom calls, it's probably something you could pilot and test and see if it works, just to throw out some ideas like that.
Well, thank you, Melinda. That's awesome. Thank you.
Great. And Gresham's next, and then Rosemary.
Yes, I was actually going to say something, I guess, similar to what Melinda, Rosemary, and kind of John even said as well, too, because I think one of the big things that I saw from the video, great presentation, by the way, and I got in trouble with my parents for selling candy that they used to give me, so I know the beginning of your story, so that resonated with me. But I think the big thing is about showcasing those pain points and how you solve those pain points. I like that, especially in the video. I think that's something that you can do as you get the MVP up and going, is like being able to say, this is what that pain point is, and be able to show how you can solve it. Because I don't know the industry well, but I imagine that people probably have those pain points, but kind of assume that they're just part of like doing business, part of like what they have to do. So they may not even know that there's a better way. So I think if like even in a video, or even if you're going through LinkedIn or creating, you know, the organization or a group or something along those lines, if you can kind of reel people in with, are you experiencing X, Y, and Z? And then being kind of like, quote unquote, the superhero or the person that comes in to kind of save the day with your product, I think that would be something good, because if it's deeply entrenched, people don't know that there's a better way necessarily, and they just assume it's business as usual. But you can kind of disrupt that by saying, you are experiencing this, and oh, by the way, did you know that there's a solution for your problems?
Thank you, Rishma. Thank you for that.
Rosemary.
So Jose, the little gray cells have been fired up by all the folks in the room, and I have 3 quick hits. I'll put them in the chat too, so you can think about them later. One is, if you don't already have one, I'd recommend creating an advisory panel. Call it a technical advisory panel or a manufacturing advisory panel, whatever you like, and then offer slots to some of the thought leaders in the manufacturing company, in your rapid community, in the schools that have big engineering organizations, and even, this is a second idea, some of the professional licensing groups that have local chapters. And this way, in your advisory panel, you have an ecosystem of people who are going to be your user group on all sides of your little Expedia model, right?
Good.
And then, so that's one idea, and that'll start to get your brand out there. They can, once they know who you are and what you're doing, they can start recommending people for you to call, or they will call people on your behalf. So that's one thing. Another thing is sort of following up on this notion of professional licensing group chapters. I'm sure there's a civil engineers group. There's all of these groups that are locally. I would recommend that you reach out either through, I'm plugging here for our friend, the Central Fairfax chapter, either through your local chambers of commerce, through whatever local groups that you have. I know that you're closer to Baltimore than you are to here, but they're going to have local chapters. And even if they're meeting virtually, they have a roster. So, and going to them with, I'm looking for members for my advisory council and testers. Those are great ways, because you're not selling them. You're asking for their help.
Yeah.
And then the third thing is, and this kind of, I was writing this down as Gresham was speaking, so it kind of, it made a nice little synergy. Creating a series of short videos to use as posts, both with your website on your blog and in LinkedIn, so that you can go ahead and you know, spool them out every couple of weeks with a nice headline. You know, want to join, you know, join the revolution, here's what we're doing, click on that, and kind of get people engaged. You know this because we've talked. I love your story about your grandmother and the mango tree, and that paradigm that you built around it. And I think taking each element of a problem and dissecting it and having a solution, those are nice little 10 or 15 second stories you can tell that you can post on LinkedIn that you'll get a lot of input.
That's cool. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Thank you, Rosemary.
So one quick question, and I'm looking for people to raise their hands. Is there an association that some of these engineers belong to? Are there trade shows that are around in your industry? Are there international types of things that are big, something maybe in Asia or Europe or wherever, South America? Are there other things going on, or are you really the first to be thinking like you did with the mango tree, which is, again, a great illustration of what you're doing?
Yeah, actually, we, as I mentioned, we were accepting Rapid, and next week I go to Boston to be in the International Chemical Engineering Conference, the annual conference. I'm trying to reach, to meet people, to increase the networking. Like, here we're 1 million cup. That's the main idea, increase the networking. I have to, like I said, I'm from Venezuela. I came here. One of the pain I have is I don't know nobody here. I started to know people.
Yeah.
In Venezuela, I knew almost everybody in the industry. But here, I don't know nobody. So I'm trying to, to do this kind of presentation to try to reach those networking groups to try to sell this or at least to share, as you said, to share this idea, because right now I'm not selling, to share this idea, get more feedback to improve it.
Is there any way you could do a focus group at the event next week, last minute, that you could get permission from the folks that are running the event, tell them what you're doing, and see if they can offer a special focus group that you would be part of and that you would share with the members of, I assume there may be an association, or share with people who attend and put some questions together that may really help. What would work for them in their industry? How would they do it? And what I mean is, where do they get things right now? How do they get things right now? And what would a process like this take to bring into your organization, so that, because probably a lot of companies might want to pilot, test it, and try it on a project or whatever it might be. But if you can get in front and do a focus group, I would say for any other events that are coming up on your horizon, see if you can find out about them, or find out when the next show is for this group, and become a speaker at these events. You may also want to consider writing a book for folks in your industry, of telling a story of being stuck and how you can really be ahead of the curve by being able to use what you're offering to the industry.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask.
From the new Kleenex,
If they allow me.
or IBM, or Xerox machine. There may be an opportunity, the way you've used Expedia, that you could become the new process of all of what your industry, reinvent your industry so it makes more sense. And then you could still let your competitors in, because they would be vendors and they would be doing things differently.
Yeah. Thank you. Actually, the next week, my big competitors are gonna be there. They're gonna be there.
Spend some time with them. John, you've got another question.
Thank you.
Yes. So I put it in the chat, and I don't have the answer to this, but who would be a good strategic partner for you? Is it potentially a competitor? Is it potentially a good-sized engineering firm? I don't know, but I'd love you to think about who has the most pain, and could they become part of your collaboration?
Yeah. The answer of that, I think the engineering firms, the medium and small engineering firms, even the big firms, actually is you have a contact where you can introduce me somebody in the engineering firms that I can present this idea to get the early customer. It's gonna be awesome.
So I think what John is asking is another thing, that if you stepped out the box and you were Steve Jobs and you were just starting,
Okay.
and you looked at it from above and looked at the processes, how would you put them together? What would you do? Who would be the strategic partners that you would pull together? And that's a phenomenal question, to get your idea, to get your business launched, and be open to where it comes from, because it might come from a competitor, and that's okay. Because as you look at your vision, your mission, and all the other things, look at strategically, where do you think you're going? And that's why you may be a new Xerox or Kleenex or name like that, because your whole industry is not really doing something in a 21st century way. They're going the old-fashioned way, where they talk to manufacturers and they figure out what they need. They don't know how to be online. And I'm just using that as the transition that we all have made to go digital. And it's kind of like a leap between digital and the traditional way of doing business. So
actually, yeah, that's good. We were thinking even in try to reach some competitors here that they already have the simulators running, but on computer, you have to install it. So I'm thinking, hey, give me your simulators, let's sign an agreement. I'm gonna put all your simulators online because my real business here is I didn't mention before, but it's a bid platform. So where you are the manufacturer, you are basically participating in a bid that was organized for the engineers designing or the people who hire them. So that's going to be, we are evaluating that idea. Thank you for that. Yeah, we're evaluating that. Thank you, John.
John's got another question.
Okay.
John Rittenberg, no, sorry, I never took my hand down.
Oh, I forgot to take your hand down.
No problem, I did.
Well, I'm noticing we're coming up on the final question for today. Danelle, are you back on the call?
He is.
Yes, I am.
Can you ask the final question?
Yes. Jose, amazing product, amazing presentation.
Thank you.
I'm impressed. You know, when you make all of that money, I'm going to say I'm the reason why you made all the money that you made. Just 1 million cups. But the question that I do have for you is, what can our 1 million cups community do for you?
Well, actually, this introduction is, you know, somebody in the industry, in the manufacturers or in the engineering firms, or this big company that are building or designing the energy plants, it's going to be awesome for me, because that I'm going to try to reach those early customers. If you know somebody who can make me the introduction, it's going to be awesome.
Thank you so much. Let's give him a round of applause for being a great presenter today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We also want you to come back and share some of your knowledge with other presenters. So please come back and be a member of our audience to share the great advice like we gave you.
Happy to share about that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hey, awesome recommendation. Thank you. I appreciate all of that, what you said.
So I think it's back to me, huh, Melinda?
Correct.
So flip to the next slide.
So Jennifer's
sorry.
not here. Oh, I'm sorry. I was not at the right slide. It's all yours.
Okay, well, I don't think Jennifer is here anyway, right? For a
Correct.
moment.
She'll be
But
here
one
next
of
week.
Great. One of our strategic partners is Central Fairfax Chamber of Commerce, and we often try to promote our community members' events. And just a quick note about a great chamber who's going to present to us next week. And though they've been around for 60 years, and though they have a great mission, they have challenges also, just like every other business organization. So please join us next week for Central Fairfax, one of our several community partners, and we love to promote our community partners. Next slide, please. So one of the great pieces of news is we are very booked all the way through December 15th. Please note there will be no meeting November 24th or December 22nd or December 29th. And the good news is we have a great group of presenters. The bad news is we don't have enough future presenters to book anything in January. So please, everyone, think about people who can join our community and have the courage that Jose has to present to us. So please give 1 Million Cups a lot of thoughts about who can be future community members and presenters. Next slide, please. We need new organizers, new blood, and a fresh pair of eyes on what we do will make us better. Our organizers are active. It's not a big commitment. I've been an organizer in the last 2 years. We have a Monday morning meeting. We each take on a certain amount of responsibility, but we'd love to have more organizers. So if it's of interest to you, reach out to any of us organizers and feel free to ask any and all questions. Next slide, please. Here are a group of upcoming events. Mason Entrepreneurial Center, Team Network. You can read them all. We
There are
try
two
to
that
promote-
are in person, and that might be the thing important to note. They're over at Intelligent Office. One is on November 4th, and the other one is on November 17th. November 4th, they will provide breakfast. November 17th, they're providing appetizers. And I may have gotten that backwards. I'm just looking at what I have. But those are really the key. All of these events are posted on Central Fairfax's website, so you can click on the link and register for them.
Excellent, thank you. By the way, if they're at Office Evolution, of course, John Yu is one of our organizers and sponsors, but he's also a great caterer. I've eaten his food at prior events. So go, man, go. Right? So entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. And yet this group of great people come together every Wednesday and talk about great ideas and entrepreneurship. So I say thank you today to each of you, and certainly to Jose, man, thank you so much for joining us. We are the best chapter of 1 Million Cups, and I hope you'll come back to us as a community member and get to know us even better. We meet every Wednesday morning, and we're looking to support and learn from the people in this room. I get a good idea for my business every week. I sure hope you do also. Last slide, I think. So the Kauffman Foundation funds 1 Million Cups, and it is a community of entrepreneurs interested in increasing opportunities for entrepreneurs. Jose, you took a risk by coming here today. We commend you for a great presentation and for having the courage to stand in front of us. That's what it takes when you're an entrepreneur. So to all, thank you so much for being here. I think you're welcome to hang out and visit. And we have a few extra minutes. And perhaps does anyone have either an event they'd like to promote or additional questions or comments for Jose?
I'm going to stop the recording now.
Good idea.